Hiya and welcome to TMusic, and we're here again in Garrison. We like coming down here a lot because they've got nice gin. I'm sat with a young lad called Josh who went on a nice trek last week, earned his feet. He's got a gig coming in September and he's raising money for 3 different organisations, but I'm going to let Josh tell you which ones they are because I forgot the last 2. So, Josh, who are you raising money for?
So I'm raising money for 3 charities. First one is Barnsley Hospital charity. Basically, they just help fund all resources and speciality services in the hospital. UK Sepsis Trust, they help raise awareness for the condition sepsis by educating public and health professionals, as well as lobbying for government to make necessary changes in NHS. And World Sepsis Day, which is a global initiative set out by the Global Sepsis Alliance, that's it. Basically is a big sort of charity fundraising day, and that's on the 13th of September every year, as of 2012 I think it was established.
And is that when you're doing your gig in Old Number 7 as well?
Yes, that's going to be happening on World Sepsis Day on the 13th of September.
Okay, so let's go back to why have you picked sepsis? Why not stroke or heart attacks or whatever?
Basically, unfortunately, my dad had personal experience with sepsis in December, just gone, 2018. He started out with a cold, which then turned into pneumonia, which for some reason just got worse and worse. Obviously we didn't know at the time, but he then went into septic shock. We got him to A&E, and that's when they said that obviously he needed to be sent straight to the intensive care unit because of the condition he was in. Luckily my dad survived, but unfortunately the condition and the sort of medication that they had to give him, and the fact that he'd also got a condition called Raynaud's disease, meant that his blood flow was restricted to his extremities. So unfortunately he had to lose his fingertips and his lower limbs, and that in itself sounds brutal, but my dad was the only one out of 5 patients I think at the time that were in the ICU at Barnsley that survived. Just to give sort of reference on how deadly the condition is. Yeah. It's something that we need to get on top of. It's a medical emergency basically.
Right. So if somebody's got sepsis, how long would they have, do you think? About a day, 2 days, something like that?
Basically it comes in a range of appearances. I'll firstly say what sepsis is. Basically, sepsis is a process that your own body does. Almost, I guess you could say like cancer in a way. It's something that your own body does, but it's a lot more immediate. It happens when infection gets into a person's bloodstream, and the body sort of overreacts to it, almost like in a self-destruct kind of mode. It releases chemicals into the bloodstream, which in turn cause blood pressure to drop drastically and cause blood clotting as well. This can then lead to multiple organ failure, and then loss of limbs, like in my dad's case, because of restricted blood flow to those areas, and then ultimately death.
Right.
Yeah. It's still unknown as to the exact reasons why, but this is also why the Sepsis Trust has been set up, in order to help fund research as well.
So I mean, you don't hear a massive amount about it. I mean,
no.
People do know what sepsis is,
yeah,
but you don't hear a massive amount.
Most people will have heard of it as septicemia or blood poisoning, yeah. But it's recently been identified as a condition in itself that needs to be dealt with, because up until I think it was 2011, it wasn't really recognised as a condition in itself. Anyone that was sort of like coming into intensive care with heart failure or any sort of organ failure, anything like that, their case would be just treated as something isolated. It wouldn't be seen as a wider scope of a reaction as sepsis is. Yeah.
So how long have you been trying to raise money for?
So since me and Dad came home from hospital, me and the family set up Just Giving fundraiser for Barnsley Hospital charity pretty early on. That did pretty well. I think we raised just over £1,000 for that, and in fact nearly £2,000. Sorry, and then me and 3 other friends then set out on the charity walk last week. That was from the 13th of June to the 17th. We walked from Saltburn to Flamborough along the North Yorkshire coast, kind of along the Cleveland Way. That was to raise money for the UK Sepsis Trust and Barnsley Hospice charity. That were a personal charity to one of my friends whose neighbour unfortunately passed away, but he felt that he wanted to give something back to Barnsley Hospice for all the work that they did for him. But yeah, it's been sort of like over the past, I guess you could say, month that we've been putting things in place. The Just Giving pages are still open if anyone wanted to donate to those as well, if you're looking back on this. My friend Thomas's fundraising page is, if you go to Just Giving, so it'd be www.justgiving.com/fundraising, and then Wilco-Walks 2019, so that's for the Barnsley Hospice charity, and mine is same again, but then followed by 100 miles 19, so 100 miles 19.
And so your gig that you're doing on number 7 on World Sepsis Day, who's playing?
So I've booked 4 acts. I've got Tom Jackson to open. Then
Not Tom. You've seen Tom.
yeah, great lad. Then I've got the guys in Death Store playing. They're a local band sort of between Barnsley and Sheffield, kind of like a post-punk noise garage band. They're pretty cool. I've got a 2-piece called Perfect Parachute Picture. They're pretty cool, very noisy lad. We're kind of going for the kind of punky theme for this gig.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then headlining, I've got Frank Grimes and the Disasters as well.
Apart from Tom, I won't see Tom as very punky.
I mean, it's got punk history, hasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, between now and then, are you doing anything else?
At the moment, no, we're just kind of focused on that, but I am hoping to. Yeah, definitely need it. I'm still in pain from that walk, but it was very much worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have a target, or are you just going to keep letting it go?
Just going to keep going. I mean, at minute from the walk, collectively for Barnsley Hospice and the UK Sepsis Trust, both charities we've raised about £1,000 each for. Yeah, just over £1,000.
Cool.
So been pretty successful, really. Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming down and talking to us.
Yes, thank you very much.
All the details that's been given out for the Just Giving pages will be printed across the bottom of the screen, and we'll put the time and date and where the gig's going to be and who's playing in September. This is actually not just going out on my own page now, it's also going to be going out on the new music magazine called On in Barnsley, which you've probably seen the chap running around lately with his t-shirt on, green crackers, trying to get loads of interviews and things like that and annoying people. So I said I'd give them some interviews on my own page instead, so you'll find that in there in July, and like I say, all the details that you need, bottom of the screen. Catch you next time.
Thank you, Kel.